All right, so what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Go Follow Up podcast with me, your host, Jonathan Moore. Today, I am joined with Dariel Figueroa.
Yes.
Of IdeaHouse Studios. What's going on, man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Got a nice
Let's extend the pleasantries for about 30 minutes and then get into questions after that. Can we do that?
Yeah, we could do that, man.
Let's just keep saying thank you and you're amazing and congratulating each other on success. Yes. And then, like, at the very end, ask me one question and then we're done.
And that's it, man. I'm loving this setup that we got over here right now.
Yeah.
We got a nice little setup.
Yeah, we're in the offices of Alliance MMA, which I just started working for and, doing marketing and yeah, it's exciting, So, yeah, we got a nice little setup here.
Yeah, we're going to get into that, man.
Yeah.
So, I've known you for a couple years now.
Yes.
You've always been in that creative space.
Yes.
You just recently launched IdeaHouse Studios.
Yes. Just this month.
Yeah. So, for those out there who don't know who you are, why don't you give us a little bit of background? Who you are, how you got to where you are now, and talk a little bit about IdeaHouse Studios.
Yeah, sure.
Loaded question.
Yeah. There's a lot to chew on there. So I graduated from Rowan University here in South Jersey in 2010. It took me a little while to finally graduate, but I ended up graduating with 2 bachelor's degrees, one in film production and one in creative writing / journalism.
Okay.
And like you said, I've always been in that creative space. That's something that's always, I've just always been excited about the creative process. Ever since I was a little kid, when I was 6 years old, I remember, it's one of my earliest memories. My dad would give me yellow legal pads, those, the big rectangular pads, and I would just write short stories on them,
Okay.
Because I was just, I was infatuated with, like, the supernatural kind of stuff when I was a little kid. I used to watch Unsolved Mysteries, and I remember watching, like, the night.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, that was my show. I used to watch that with my dad, and, like, I remember watching the Nightmare on Elm Street TV series. Great reference right there. You guys got to check that out.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that. That's wild.
Yeah, maybe lasted 1 season or something. But, my dad would watch that, and I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can tell these kind of stories. So, I started writing back then, and I was a voracious reader, and, I would read a lot. And, I got into Stephen King around that time, and, like, way before anybody should be reading Stephen King, because his books are way intense.
They are, man.
I wasn't even a teenager yet, and I was reading, like, Carrie and stuff, which was his breakthrough novel. But, I won 2 short story contests, in grade school, one in 5th grade and one in 8th grade, and so it was pretty early on that I knew I wanted to stay in that space. Creativity was just, it was a passion of mine, and it kind of fueled me. So when I got into high school and university, I just started really cultivating that skill, really working on my writing skills. Primarily, I come from a strong writing background, and, so in 2010, I graduated with a bachelor's in journalism and a bachelor's in film production because I always loved film as well. So, and those skills that I've learned, in my formative years are really helping me out now because I got into professional content creation right when I graduated. I started working at Heavy.com, which is a big website out of Manhattan, kind of a pop culture, news-centric type of website. Moved on to UpRocks a couple of years after that, which was a huge website. If you're familiar with it, gets about 4 million views a day, and it was there that I really cut my teeth on what, not catering to your audience, but understanding your audience and creating content that is both high quality and, will get read. It's one thing to create for yourself, but I think it's important to create with an audience in mind,
Right.
So I've really cut my teeth there, and, I have pieces to this day that are still accumulating views, and, I wrote a piece on Mickey Rourke's boxing career that did like 5 million views. I did a piece on Randy and Evie Quaid that did like close to 10 million views, enough where Evie Quaid actually emailed me a hate letter.
Sweet.
She was upset, man.
That's how you know you're doing something
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah, if you don't have haters, you're not hustling. So and during that time, I really learned marketing. Through content creation. I was obviously learning content and content marketing at that time. But I learned stuff like SEO and social media strategy, and I spent 2 years, during that time. Let me back up a little bit. Right before I got hired full time for UpRocks, I was working at a insurance brokerage in Vineland, and I was their marketing department. They didn't have anybody else.
Okay.
So I was doing traditional forms of marketing mixed with digital marketing, mixed with content creation. SEO stuff. I mean, I was doing paid advertisements. Google AdWords. I was doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Email campaigns, fax campaigns. So I really learned B2B and B2C marketing. Through all these experiences. So I say all that to give a little context to why I started IdeaHouse Studios, because the reason I started it is because online journalism, as much as I love it, and digital content creation, as much as I love it, for places that sell content, and I'm talking about, publications like, the New York Times, all the way to the New Yorker, to UpRocks, to Heavy, all these places I work for, places that just sell content, do not pay the content creators well.
Okay.
It's the executives sitting back that aren't making content at all, that are making all that advertising money.
Wow.
So I decided to pivot out of that, career, that online journalism career. And like I said, I love doing it. I love writing 4,000 words with, 4 to 5 interview sources and multimedia approach with pictures and videos and, all that stuff. I love doing that. I'm just not going to do it for pennies anymore.
Right.
Right. Especially when where my content is attracting stuff like Honda sponsorships and shit like that.
Right.
I'm sorry, can I curse?
Yeah, of course you can, man. Of course you can.
So if I'm creating the content that's making you money, I want a piece of that pie.
Absolutely.
That's only fair. So I decided to get out of online journalism because that's just not working. And for those that are out there that are, in online journalism, get the hell out. It's a sinking ship. It's a sinking ship. So,
yeah, man.
So I decided to get into marketing, which I've been doing, since 2010, since I graduated from school. I've been learning, I took one marketing course in college and just learned the rest on the job.
Right.
So the idea behind IdeaHouse Studios is to take those two main aspects of what I do well, which is digital content production, content creation, and the promotion of said content onto social channels, so social media strategy. Take those two things, that funnel right there, and market to small businesses and individuals that need that kind of help.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of small businesses do not know. They know their product and they know how to help people. They don't know how to tell people that they can help them.
Right.
So I think that's really important, and that's the idea behind IdeaHouse Studios. We'll create the content that will get you the kind of foot traffic or digital eyeballs that'll eventually lead to someone buying or purchasing your product.
Okay.
So that's the idea behind IdeaHouse Studios, and just and it gives me an outlet to continue creating content. As well, which is important for me because I love creating content.
Right.
I love storytelling in any format, whether it's on social media, whether it's an editorial, whether it's on YouTube doing a 3-part documentary series, which, through IdeaHouse, I'm going to be working with a couple different clients doing that.
Okay.
So yeah, it just gives me, I get a rush out of it, so to be able to monetize something that I like doing.
Yeah.
Is that's amazing. That's like the pot at the end of the rainbow,
Yeah.
So
I find that interesting because I feel that in this space of creative types, right? Whether it be content creators or photographers or journalists or whatever the case may be, that could be the challenge.
Right.
Trying to find a way to make a living.
Yeah.
On with something that you're passionate about.
Right.
So
yeah, and it's to your point, it is a struggle. I mean, it's a struggle on several different levels. I mean, one, and I'm just speaking personally for myself, but I know that other people go through the same thing, is that, one, you're starting a business, so you got to have proper business acumen.
Right.
It's not just creating content and handing it over and someone gives you a check,
Right.
You got to get a tax ID number. You got to, you got to do all the paperwork. You got to submit proposals. It's like a whole different ballgame that I'm used to, but I'm learning as I go along, and it's not the most exciting part of the process, but it's part of the process. You got to do it. You want to be as professional as possible with this thing. So yeah, to your point, it's like I feel like I'm past the creative difficulties aspect. Like, yeah, I get writer's block sometimes, and sometimes I might not come up with the best idea for a client,
Right.
But that's all part of the game, You got to, most of the times, if you've been in this process, in this creative space, in the creative process for years, you know certain things about yourself. Like, for instance, I know that my first idea probably isn't my best idea.
Okay.
It usually takes, till I get an idea and I whittle it down and I carve it up, the third or fourth iteration of that idea usually is my best idea. Okay. So you start to learn things about yourself in the creative process, like how you work at the optimal levels, So
I'm gonna just ask kind of real quick. So what is your creative process? How do you, come up with your content or your strategies?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to creating a piece of content, like, I always try to find the hidden narrative. That's a big part of doing this for me. Like, when I was creating content at UpRocks, I would always try to find the story that no one else has touched upon before, Right. I think being original and fresh is highly important when it comes to creating content. I did a piece on Lawrence Horn. Have you ever heard of Lawrence Horn?
No.
He was the engineer for Motown. He created the double compression trick, and he's pretty much the reason why you can listen to the Motown records now, when they were at the height of their power, and it sounds so clean and, great, like the audio quality is incredible. It was because of Lawrence Horn. So Lawrence Horn, unfortunately ended up being a complete psychopath. He hired a hitman to kill his family for the insurance money.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, so, and the hitman actually was successful in doing that.
Wow.
It's a tragic story and horrible, but if you look that up online, there's very little information you'll find about it, and I happened to stumble across it, and no one had tackled it in a long form manner before.
Okay.
Complete with original photos that have never been seen before. When I did that piece, you couldn't even find a picture of Lawrence Horn online. Mm-hmm. Now you can find them because I was able to contact the people I used to work with at Motown and get photos from their own personal collections and post them into the piece.
Wow.
Yeah, so, that was, I spent weeks in the library going through microfiche. Like, who does that anymore?
Wow, yeah.
Like, that's how commitment. Yeah, like, that's how committed I was to creating this, original narrative that no one had tackled before. Because, like I said, none of the information about the case was online. So, all the court documents, all the court records, all the newspaper clippings that followed the case were all on microfiche. So, I literally had to go to, shout out to Collingswood, anybody who lives in Collingswood, New Jersey. I had to
Great place.
I had to go to that library. I was living there at the time. And their records date back to 1987. 1897. Wow. Sorry. So they have newspapers that go back to the 1800s.
Wow.
So all on microfiche and digitized. So I was able to dig in their, in their bucket of historical documents and, put together this narrative about this guy who was at the height of his powers, was, one of the most powerful men in music. Mm-hmm. Pretty much crafting the sound of pop music, and and then he went off the deep end and killed this child. It's like, it was a crazy story, but no one had told it before. And the reason why I wanted to tell that is because not only was it a compelling narrative, but no one else had told it before.
Okay.
So I try to do the same thing through IdeaHouse Studios, and now that I'm here working with Alliance MMA, I try. That's what I try to do, is I try to find that narrative thread that no one is touching upon, try to find that angle, so I think that's highly important when it comes to creating original content.
Man, that's pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to go look up that story now.
Yeah, you gotta
Without
look up. Yeah, if you just Google Lawrence Horn, I think it's on the first page of Google results.
Of course, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, because there's literally like not much on him.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, check that one out. That's a good one. Yeah, I like that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
And you just launched your company just a month ago. So let me ask you right now where you are.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about?
With my own business?
Yes.
Yeah, with IdeaHouse Studios. I mean, I think the most exciting part of it is, it's twofold. One, it's the content creation itself, the process of the content creation and the ideation behind original content.
Okay.
Like I said, I really enjoy that process. The other part of it that I really enjoy, that I find exciting, is to see small businesses or individuals grow with my help. The aftermath of the content creation.
Right.
That's really cool because getting money is great, but and you need that. You got to keep the lights on. You got to feed your kids. You got to get the money. But to see a client's face light up with joy when they see a piece of original content you created, and then to watch their metrics climb after that content, is published.
Absolutely.
That's a great thrill. It's a great rush.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of rush I had when I was getting millions of views at UpRocks.
Right.
And now I'm working with small businesses and individuals. I fully do not expect to get millions of views for a piece of content I'm doing.
But the feeling is the same.
Yeah, the feeling is exactly the same.
Right.
I still get that same rush. So, that's why I'm happy I'm doing that.
Nice, man. So, what are your biggest challenges at this moment?
Yeah, my biggest challenges, I would say, is convincing people I can help their business.
Wow.
Because while I have a good resume, you can Google my name, and for 5 pages deep on Google is just links to all my work.
Okay.
Maybe even deeper than that. I haven't gone past page 5 because I don't want to, embellish myself too much. But I don't want to, gas myself up too much. But I have Googled myself. I do a little Googling. I got to know what's out there, bro, because they're actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I consider myself almost like a public figure to one point. Because if you're a content creator, you're constantly putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And people are going to have opinions about that.
Oh, man.
So I every now and then, maybe 3 times a week, I'll Google myself. Nah, it's like, it's like once every couple months. But, I'll Google myself because I've come across a couple things where people have posted excerpts of stuff I've written, and they'll add commentary look at what this douchebag wrote, and I'll just be like, oh, dude, and then I'll be sad about it for a minute, but the rest of the time it's usually good comments.
Yeah. How do you respond to that, or how do you?
I'm over it, bro. I've been told to go kill yourself, on Twitter and all sorts of stuff, bro. Because I've literally been writing online for 7 years now, so you get all sorts of comments, but I remember, this is a funny story. I remember when I first started working at Heavy, which was my first real online gig. I was writing for little crappy websites that are probably shut down at this point before that. But Heavy was my first major gig where hundreds of thousands to millions of people could be potentially reading my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I had a typo in one of my very first pieces, and I had never received online criticism before.
Okay.
So in the comments section, there's comment section below, editorial pieces.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, you used this word wrong,
Mm-hmm.
I ripped that dude a new asshole. I ripped him such a new asshole, bro. I laid into him. I was like, oh, thanks, you grammar Nazi. I was like, when I need help, I'll let you know. I wrote a good 100 words written them. And my editor came to me, and I thought, afterwards, I was like, I feel good about that. I own you. Cry now. I want you to cry. I want you to read this and cry. And it was just a typo. The guy was actually helping me out. It was a legitimate typo. But I couldn't handle online criticism yet. So my editor came to me like later that day after he read what I wrote on in the message section, and he was like, that guy was just like helping you out, right? And then it like kind of dawned on me, like I had that like aha moment where I was just like, oh man, you're right. So I went in there and like erased my comment as quickly as possible. Man. And like since then, I just learned to have this thick skin,
Right.
And now now if like a typo is mentioned or I get a factoid wrong, which happens every now and then,
right.
You get wrong information and you end up publishing it. I just say thank you. Like, oh, thanks, bro. Like, you helped me out,
Right.
So, obviously I don't say thank you to people that say go kill yourself.
Right.
Like, thanks, bro. You just helped me out. I am going to kill myself. I've been wondering what's been wrong lately. It's because I'm alive.
Oh my God.
So those comments, I don't thank them for that. But.
Man.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a big problem for young writers or people who are trying to get into whatever their niche is or their industry? Because you're right, when you publish something, you are vulnerable. It's like
right.
when you put your art out there, you're vulnerable. I mean, because it's something that you're passionate about. You're not just doing it just to do it. It's something that you're connected to. You think that's a big hurdle for those just getting started? Or?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's going to be people that come from a place where they just don't give a shit about criticism,
Right. Yeah.
And I applaud those people, and that's great for them. But there's going to be a lot of people that, listen, like writers, especially writers, but overall content creators, but especially writers can be very sensitive people. You got to tap into something. Like a weird part of yourself sometimes when you're creating content, when you're writing stuff, you got to tap into that emotional part of yourself sometimes, that sensitive part, because you want to be an empathetic individual when you're creating content,
right.
You don't want to be cold-hearted. I mean, some people can get away with that, but for the most part, content creators want to understand their audience and, tap into that part, that emotional part of themselves where they understand human nature, so... to answer your question, yeah, I think that's a big hurdle for a lot of people. And, when it comes to, creating content, like if I was going to give advice to somebody starting out in content creation and writing especially, it'd be this. It'd be, the people who have the worst things to say about your content, the real negative statements, that just come from a nasty place, those are usually, I would say 99 to 100% of the time, that's coming from people that don't create content and don't put themselves out there.
Right.
Because if they did put themselves out there, they would understand how vulnerable you are.
Right.
You don't see Stephen King going on message boards like, hey, bro, read your book, it sucks. No.
They applaud you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you got to understand that the people that, these trolls, these internet trolls, and all those people that just, thrive off the negativity of their statements and their rhetoric, that's coming from a place where they wish they had the balls to put out content and they don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I've asked several times an internet troll, and this shuts them down immediately. It's like they'll have something completely negative to say and completely cynical, and it's just like, all right, bro, yeah, I get it. Where's your latest piece so I can read it?
Right.
And that usually just shuts them up, because they're coming from a place where they wish they were doing what you were doing. Right. That's why they feel like they have, they have the right to comment on it,
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. So once you learn that and you understand that, then it's like, you grow a suit of armor. It's just like, I just let those comments roll off my back. I actually feel sorry for, most of the time I feel sorry for those people when they write those vehement things online,
Right.
I just feel sorry for them. It's like they're just stewing in their own anger. It's like shit sitting in a pile of shit, just angry.
Not doing anything
to get out of it. Just sitting in a pile of crap. Yeah, exactly.
You're just on rainbows.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm good, bro. You're the one that's like anger writing all day,
Just stewing in that shit and being shittier.
Yeah, just smelling like shit and putting shit online. It's horrible, bro. Like, kind of existence of that is that, you know? And they probably feel great after they write something like that. Like, yeah, I showed him, you know? It's like, yeah, you won, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you won.
Man, so now, this podcast, it has a lot to do with, relationships. And let me ask you, let me ask you, who, is there a person in your life that you felt or you feel has played a major role in where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, I have mentors, like I have a business mentor, and I create content in the music space, as you know, like as a music producer, and I got signed this past year to a publishing deal, Mighty Works Media, and I love creating content in all forms, text, audio, visual. And I have mentors in some of those spaces. I have mentors in all those spaces, really,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say, for the past 4 years that I've been with her, it's been my wife, because she has,
Nice.
She has really not only backed me when it comes to content creation, and because content creation can be a very lonely field,
Okay.
You're pretty much, unless you're in an environment like this, which, I just started this week at Alliance MMA, it's like, it's a very singular, especially a writer, it's a very lonely profession.
Right.
You're just sitting at home, very few times are books written by more than one person,
Right, absolutely.
or articles for that matter, it's usually
Right.
just you trapped in your head trying to pump out copy,
Mm-hmm.
So it can be a very lonely profession. And I've been blessed because my wife, shout out to Delilah, probably not going to watch this, but shout out to her. She's amazing. My wife has really not only backed my plays as far as music production, writing, content creation, all this stuff. She's really given me the space and the freedom to do it.
Right.
As well, because you need, like, we have a daughter, we have a 2-year-old daughter. It's like, when I'm about to go in the zone in the creative space, like, she knows, daddy's working,
Right,
that kind of thing. And I try to make time for my family, and I'm probably not that great at it yet, so
finding that harmony.
Yeah,
Balance is tough. So
balance is tough,
harmony.
man. Balance is tough. That's a tough thing, because there'll be times when I'm really inspired and I want to work, but it's like, right now I got to take care of my daughter, or I got to cook dinner, or do stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
you got to find that balance, and so it's tough, and I'm not great at it. I'll be 100% with you. I'll keep it 100.
Keep it 100.
Yeah, I'm not great at the balance yet,
Mhm.
but I'm trying,
Yeah,
So
something we all struggle with, I think.
yeah,
Especially when you're starting something up and you're really pushing for something.
right. Yeah, and
it's
hard.
tough.
Yeah, and it's hard for people to understand that process too.
It is actually, isn't it?
It's hard because, like, even if you describe it, in full text, like, this is what I'm doing, these are the hours I'm working, like, people will come across you during that process and just be like, what are you doing? Are you making money doing that? It's like, you'll hear shit like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely, man.
It's like, oh, what are you playing on YouTube? It's like, yeah, I'm watching twerking videos. This is how I get paid.
If only, right?
I wish, dude. If I got paid to watch twerking videos 8 hours a day, I'd be at my computer all day like this. Damn.
Oh my God. But yeah, you're right though. It is. It's definitely hard. Like, because I think from the outside looking in, people don't always understand. And especially, it's a lot. You have to do a lot. It's a lot of workload that goes into it. And it's like you said, it's not just, not just strictly the creation and, the creative side of things.
Right.
You gotta work on the back end. You gotta make sure, you're doing like the business, the admin stuff, and
Right.
it can be tough, man.
It is.
It can be tough.
It can be tough. And SEO, like, while I'm adept at it, it's like the bane of my existence. Like, I hate doing meta tags, and
Right.
there's like very little that's fun about SEO
Right.
at all. It's like, But you got to do it. You know, you got to do it because like an important part of creating content is making sure it gets seen, or else what the hell's the point?
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
How about that?
Yeah.
So, if IdeaHouse was a movie character,
yeah,
who would they be?
Oh, it would totally be Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate.
Oh,
just so I can say, she's got a great ass. It's my favorite line from that movie. I think that was Devil's Advocate. No, I don't know.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
so that's a good pick.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that?
He says that in either The Devil's Advocate or One for the Money. I can't remember. It's one of those two films. He says she's got a great ass. He said it just like that. It's amazing. I think I might make that my ringtone. Al Pacino uttering that line in such an unbelievably obscene way. So that's a great question. If IdeaHouse was a movie character, who would it be? Man, I'm such a movie buff. This is
I know you are a movie guy. You're a big time movie guy.
I'm a big time movie guy. So it would have to be a coming of age tale. You know, because IdeaHouse hasn't reached full maturity yet, and wouldn't for several years. Like I'm expecting to be in this game with IdeaHouse for 7 to 10 years before it gets real successful and we're making,
absolutely
boatloads of money and I can hire people and stuff like that. Like if you're not playing the long game, you're not playing the game at all.
Right.
Right. So let's say it's a coming of age tale. I would say, you remember Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who was the young kid that was smoking crack that he took on the roof?
Wasn't it like, I forget his name, it was like Smalls or
I
forget his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
That
you always call him, catch him, and
little chubby kid.
Yeah, little chubby guy.
Yeah.
They always make him like sing songs.
Exactly.
The alma mater or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. IdeaHouse would be that kid. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because I've had trouble in my past. In my 20s, I was a savage.
Oh,
and now I'm like pivoting out of that. I've pivoted out of that area of my life. I've pivoted out of pivoted as far as careers go. And IdeaHouse is that little kid who decided to put down the crack pipe and sing and sing his school song.
Oh my God. I like it. I'm actually loving that.
Yeah.
I gotta think of his name, man.
Yeah, we gotta figure out his name. But yeah, that's IdeaHouse in a nutshell. Yeah.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
So let me collect myself here. That's a good one. I would never think of that. So let me ask you, what do you have? One book, I know this is kind of tough.
Yeah.
But do you have one book that you feel was really a game changer for you? Just shifted your mindset.
That's good, man. Yeah,
because I know you're a big time reader, but
I read a lot of books.
It's tough, man. Is there one that you read and you were like, you know what? It just kind of changed the way you looked at things.
Can I throw an Audible in there?
Absolutely.
Instead of a book. It was a piece of video content that kind of changed my mind frame.
Okay.
That kind of changed my mindset. That I watched, I think, late last year, and it really got the gears turning where it made me want to work 65 hours a week. It made me want to start my own company. And I read a lot of books up to that point until I saw this piece of video content. I'll tell you what it is in a second, but I read a lot of books like The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People or Highly Effective People. I read that book. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I've read so many self-help books, like it's ridiculous. To the point where I got sick of the genre. And business books, and I even read this one ridiculous book about how to plot out your whole life. Like, it's a life planning thing, which is just ridiculous because you don't know what's going to happen in a year, much less 20 years from now. So it's like, how can you plan that shit out? Like, it's just the whole concept. Like, there's people that subscribe to that, but I think it's ridiculous. You know?
Absolutely.
Take it like 90 days at a time. Like, take it slow, bro. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, like, so that's what I'm doing now, is taking it 90 days at a time. But, this piece of video content, it was done by Gary Vaynerchuk, who I think
Gary V.
Yeah, Gary V.
Another New Jersey guy.
Yeah, Jersey guy. And
a lot of Jersey represented.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, but you see they all move out once they're successful. No one stays here once they hit the jackpot. So the video, I believe it's called A 5-Minute Plea to Do.
5-minute plea to
do, yes. Okay. And it's literally just a 5-minute piece of video content, and it's one of the most powerful pieces of video I've ever seen. It's on YouTube. Okay. He's got he's great at YouTube content, but it was one of the first videos that I saw from Gary V, and it just blew my mind. Like, it just tapped into something in my subconscious that, when the video was done playing, and it's a highly motivational video, and he comes from a content marketing background, it was like a kick in the ass. It was just like, when I was done the video, I was like, why am I not doing? Why am I just reading and strategizing about doing, but not doing?
Yeah.
Because up to that point, which was December or January of this year, I was just like I was saying, reading a lot of self-help books and taking marketing courses and really sharpening my skills, and that's great and all, but I wasn't creating enough.
Right.
So I wasn't doing enough. So that's when I was like, I'm starting my own company, bro. I'm getting out all my journalism. I need to do.
That really made you take that leap.
It really did, bro. And I've shown that video to a couple other people, and they agree it's pretty powerful. And I don't know if the people that I've shown it to have gotten the same effect that I did.
Right.
But for me, that was that's when I decided to pivot. It was just, it really resonated with me. And I've watched a lot of his content since then, but nothing has resonated as well as that short video,
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
So, what are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading Brand Like a Rock Star, which is a really good marketing book that takes examples from the music industry and applies them to marketing. As well as, I don't have my bag here. I am reading one self-help book, just a cursory glance at it, because I'm kind of out of that genre. You always gotta
kind of, what? It's an interesting genre, because it is a powerful genre, because it's I spoke to a guy the other day, and he said it's like you're reading a book about you.
Right. Yeah.
But I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
genre can get a little.
Yeah, it gets a little tiring after a while.
Sometimes.
Yeah, because they have a lot of the same message where it's like, live in the moment. Pre-visualize your success. It's a lot of the same concepts, but told in different ways. And after you've been through a dozen of those books, you're just all right, I get it.
You get it. And you know what? And sometimes I feel like in the self-help space, as great as it is, it can be overwhelming with procedures to the procedures and rituals and after a while it's damn dude, how do I even have time to fit all this into one day,
and how do you pick which one's the best? You have 100 different strategies in your head about how to lead your life, and you're just God, I need a book to tell me which strategy to pick.
You're reading a book about books.
I need a book. Tell me how to interpret these books. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. So I'm trying to get out of that space, and just what the right thing to do is when you wake up. You know, take care of your family, take care of your body. Create great work. Get enough sleep. The things that you need to do. And that's why that video resonates so well with me, because it's shit, I do know the things I need to do.
We all do.
We all know the things we need to do. We're just not doing them.
Right.
So it's I just gotta do it. Even if I'm tired or whatever, just do it.
Right.
They're like Nike. Do it.
Just do it, man.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
When you're in Vegas in a room full of prostitutes. This is earmuffs for the kids watching this.
The earmuffs should have been on the
But the same advice applies when you're in Vegas with half a dozen prostitutes.
Right.
Just do it, bro. It's like there's no turning back now.
There ain't no turning back.
The door's closed and the money's paid.
Oh my God, man! I love it. I love it, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we'll end this off with a final question.
Sure.
It's been a great interview.
Yeah, this is fun.
This has been
had
awesome.
a good time. Yeah.
It's been awesome, man. So, if you could leave, this is the last message you're going to give.
Yeah.
This is the last thing anybody is going to hear from you.
Yeah.
For eternity.
Right.
It's the only thing they could take with them.
Yeah.
What would you leave them with?
I thought of I guess you could call it a quote.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about something, and the other day, and I actually posted it on, and I made an Instagram post on it. I was thinking about that idea of dance like no one's watching. You always hear that, dance like no one's watching.
Yeah.
And if it's like a commercial,
because when you're drinking, you do dance.
Yeah, exactly. And it's horrific.
Yeah.
When people actually do watch, it's horrific. It's just a horrific experience for everyone involved.
Oh my God.
But I was thinking about that quote, and I'm not going to live and die by what I say right now,
right?
Because I think about things every 10 minutes. It's like a new thought in my head, and I'm trying to digest it and interpret what the hell my brain is coming up with. But the one thought I had on that dance like no one's watching thing is like, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's fair to say that. I don't think it's fair to say dance like no one's watching. Because like you said, you could be completely wasted and have that mindset of dancing like no one's watching. Right. And then when you watch video of that later, you look like a fool. Right. So I don't think that's fair to say dance like no one's watching. Right. I think the better statement in regards to that is dance like you understand your audience and dance while ignoring the haters. That's a better piece of advice than dance like no one's watching. Right. Because you should, whenever you're creating content or putting yourself out there, you should at least understand your audience. And the other understanding you should come to is people are going to have negative comments about you. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, those people, that's usually coming from a place of, that's usually coming from a void. Right. Those people aren't creating stuff. Right. So it's coming from a void. So don't pay attention to those people, So that's it, bro. All right, man, I like that.
So if anybody's looking for you, they want to get a hold of you, want to learn more about you, how can they find you?
You can go to, I live in, no, I'm just kidding. No, you can go to IdeaHouseStudios.blog. Okay. Or you can hit me up on Gmail, info@IdeaHouseStudios.blog. And that's it. Hit me up with anything, questions, comments, whether or not you want to use my services, I don't care. Just hit me up just to say hi. So, all right, and they can Twitter, Dariel Figueroa. Okay. That's a good one too. I'm always available there. So. All right. Yeah. And they can expect some content from IdeaHouse, but also MMA Alliance as well too. Yeah, Alliance MMA. Alliance. No worries. Alliance MMA. Just started working with them. We have a show. By the time you hear this podcast is August 19th. It's with V3. The group's called V3. They're having a show in Tampa, Florida. So go to v3fights.com. Check out you can get tickets if you live in the Tampa area. If you don't live in the Tampa area and aren't able to make it out August 19th, we're also streaming it live online. So just go to v3fights.com. You'll be able to check out the content there. It's a really great promotion. Out of the Memphis area, and this is the first time I believe that they're having a show in the Tampa, Florida area. Okay. So they're traveling this time. So August 19th is going to be a great show. So check that out as well. Yeah. All right. All right, man. Well, listen, this has been a great interview. This has been fun, brother. It has been, man. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on and speak with me. And I got to stay later in the office today, but it was worth it. All right.
But once again, man, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's Dariel Figueroa from IdeaHouse Studios.
Yes.
And signing out.
Yes.
Me.
Let's sign off on a shake.
Let's sign off. There you
Sign
go.
off on a shake.
There you go.
All right, folks.
All right. My man.